doomed planet in a distant galaxy to a fantastic underground hideaway, from the Fortress of Solitude to the bustling city room of the Daily Planet. Look, up on the screen, it's Superman. Superman, the movie, rated PG. Now playing. Check newspapers for local listing.
We were lucky enough recently to rewatch Superman 1978 on the big screen. The last time we saw it on the big screen was 1978. I was 6 years old.
I would have been 5.
You saw it in the movies?
Yes.
And me too. My uncle took me. It was fantastic. It was life-changing for me because it was really the first superhero movie I saw on a big screen. And it followed Star Wars. So I had seen Star Wars in 1977.
Right.
The next big movie I saw was Superman.
That's right.
And in terms of importance to the superhero genre, I'm not sure you can find a more important movie than Superman.
No. There were superhero movies before this, but
Batman 66.
This was the first one that was really like taken seriously. Like they took the story seriously and they told the story, even though there's humor in it and stuff like that. They didn't make fun of it. No. It wasn't a parody. It wasn't a parody like 66. Like
it was
Batman
not.
66. It was.
And nothing against Batman 66.
That's a great movie too. It's so much fun. But
this was a serious superhero.
This was a serious look at the character. Right.
And it took us into the realm of comic books. And at the time, you would have thought that there would have been more. There wasn't.
It's odd, right?
It's odd.
That it took a while for that to kind of ramp up.
It did very well at the box office. We get Superman 2. We get Superman 3. We get Superman 4. And then we don't get another Superman movie till Man of Steel.
It's funny because there weren't other legitimate superhero movies that followed it, but there were a lot of knockoffs, like a lot of B-movie knockoffs, like Puma Man and stuff like that were just dreadful.
Superhero-esque, but not...
Though Puma Man is funny.
But not superhero movies.
No, not at all.
So let's look at, before we go into, we're going to do our 5 good parts and 5 bad parts. Yes, we found 5 bad parts to Superman 78. It was made in the 70s. Again, special effects aren't as great as they are today. It's still probably one of my top 5 favorite superhero movies.
Again, it's a very, very good movie, but it's not perfect.
Not perfect.
And we have to admit that.
And we're going to try to make it perfect by changing a couple of things.
It's important we take that step.
Our bad is just to change it so it's that much better.
Right, exactly. We're just being constructive.
But before that, we're going to look at some of the details behind the movie.
Let's look at some facts. Superman was released on December 15th, 1978. It was directed by Richard Donner.
So it was a Christmas movie.
Yeah, technically, sure. It was around Christmas. It was released around Christmas.
So it tried to get to people at the Christmas holiday.
It was written by David and Leslie Newman, Robert Benton, and Mario Puzo. Yes, that Mario Puzo. The same one who wrote The Godfather.
What did he have influence he have on it?
I think he polished the script, I guess.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's how they got a big star in there from him.
Right. Produced by Alexander and Ilya Salkind. Music by John Williams, who had amazing success in a number of years there in the 70s, going from Jaws to Star Wars to Superman.
I'm not sure you can get better for someone writing the score.
No. Oh, and he did.
Even to this day.
Wait, didn't he do Close Encounters?
Yes.
Even after that?
Yeah.
That was 79, right. Okay.
Even to this day, I'm not sure you can get anyone better than him.
John Williams, again, is one of those names in movie scoring that, when you see his name, you're going to get some good music.
You know it's going to be a good movie, too. You don't even question it.
Superman starred Christopher Reeve as Superman, as the man himself. Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. Margot Kidder as Lois Lane. Ned Beatty as Otis. Marlon Brando as Jor-El. And Valerie Perrine as Ms. Tessmacher.
Ms. Tessmacher!
Who steals
the show.
Rewatching this, she stole a lot of scenes.
Her scenes are great.
She stole a lot of scenes.
Yeah, as a kid, we don't realize that.
We don't realize it, but she stole a lot of scenes.
Again, we're talking about a movie we saw in the 1970s when we were 5 and 6. Right. Again, seeing, now that we're in our 50s, we look at it a little bit differently. Miss Tessmacher strikes a little different chord in a 50-year-old than it did in a 6-year-old. Her scenes are great. She's fantastic, especially the water scene.
She's very good. It made $300 million off a budget of $55 million.
In 1978. Right. That's fantastic.
$55 million.
Wow.
In 1978, it's a big budget.
Yeah. So they really were behind this movie.
Yeah. They put a lot of money behind this.
They really did. And successful.
It showed. They worked hard on it.
It's a great movie. But there are some problems with it. So before we look at the good, we're going to look at 5 bad things. Things we would change. It's not big, small.
Yeah.
So this movie is not a perfect movie.
No.
So there are some issues that we have with it. Primarily my issues.
You know, can I just put in here
You can put in there anything you want.
one thing that changed seeing this movie again is that I have a much higher appreciation for the Superman character now that I'm older than I did when I was younger.
That's why you had that T-shirt
And
on.
And it changed the way I watched this movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
it absolutely does.
Definitely.
Getting older, this changes the way you look at Superman.
Yeah.
So the first problem that we have is an early scene in the movie when Superman, actually Clark Kent, is running next to a train.
Yeah. Now we understand it was 1978.
We'll show it as we talk about it. We'll show some footage from it.
Yeah.
So we'll talk over the footage of it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look good.
Again, it was 1978.
Okay.
The effects weren't up to what they
Still,
are now.
all he's doing is running.
But still, I feel like that maybe they could have polished that up a little
Yes,
bit
they
better.
Definitely
Yeah.
could have made this scene, make
Right.
him look better. He looks like he's running on, on a gurney or something.
Yeah,
It
yeah, it
just doesn't look
doesn't-
great. So, and again, that scene actually has bothered me for many, many years because it just never looked right to me.
Yeah.
Just the way Superman's running. I think if they ever redid the movie, he would look more like the Flash.
They could have him run like Steven Seagal.
No, it would look like a Flash. We'd see more, speed. We don't
Right.
really see. We're not seeing speed.
Well, they could have just made it a red streak with
of
a
course.
vague human shape at the front.
but
you know?
that probably would have cost money. So that's my first little minor thing. Second one, the scene where he's flying with Lois Lane.
Most of it was okay. I thought the poem thing was weird.
Yeah,
When she's reciting that poem in her head,
I just
that was bizarre. I don't remember that.
I don't. That movie takes me out of what's going on. I think that's the issue I have with it. It takes me out of the whole Superman thing. I get what he's doing. He's flying her around, showing her how he sees the world.
He's
but it
macking
gets
on the ladies.
it gets really sappy at one point, unnecessarily.
I don't remember. And just to remind you guys, if you haven't watched it in a while, there's a scene where they're flying and you hear her voice in her head and she's reciting this rhyming poem about
to him.
I don't remember that when I first saw it. And it just struck me as so
I
weird.
think if you, as a 5-year-old, you wouldn't be paying attention to that nonsense.
Yeah, like all of a sudden there's a rhyming poem in the middle of this movie.
Writing poetry in her head.
So weird.
Yeah, it just not a great scene.
No.
Doesn't hurt the movie, but
No.
not a great scene.
No.
The third thing, Lex Luthor's knowledge of Superman.
We talked about this.
We talked about it
Yeah.
during the movie.
Right.
Probably the people behind us weren't happy. He knows way too much about Superman at the time when no one knows anything about him.
He figures out everything about Superman in about 5 minutes.
With
almost no previous data at all.
No, I get,
Yeah.
I get Lex Luthor's one of the smartest
he's
men
supposed
on
to
the
be a
planet.
genius.
I get
Forget
that.
it.
There's no way he figures out that he's from Krypton and that he finds a piece of kryptonite. and
Yeah, that if we got a piece of kryptonite, it would hurt him.
yeah, it's just no. It's
Yeah.
just he goes way too quick to the end result,
Right.
and that bothers me.
Yeah, they could have shown a little more of his thought process or
Yeah.
shown something else. I don't know.
He could have done research or
Right.
something. It always bothered me that he knew way too much about Superman and no one else
Yeah.
knows anything about it. He figures it out too quickly.
Right.
Another minor thing. The next thing, his plan is awful.
It's so weird. His plan is to basically sink California into the ocean using a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
And then sell beachfront property in the desert that he just bought. Which, okay, we
In itself is a terrible plan.
because, but I think it's because, like, if this nuclear weapon mysteriously diverts itself, sinks California, killing 40 million people,
Yeah.
by the way,
He's the primary owner of all this land.
he would be the prime suspect.
100%.
He's not covered up in any way.
No. They would definitely confiscate all of his land and all of his holdings after that. He would not be able to profit from this. And the fact that in the plan, he gets Superman, right? So he makes his plan before Superman even exists.
Exactly.
This is his plan before Superman.
Right.
He realized that Superman could be a problem for this. He captures Superman as part of this plan.
No, it's the kryptonite.
With the
It's decked with
kryptonite.
the chain.
He puts him somewhere where his secret headquarters, but then he launches 2 missiles, one that's going to California, one that's going to New Jersey. That doesn't make any sense.
Why does, right.
It makes no sense.
He was trying to get it so that Superman couldn't stop both.
But he already had Superman. His plan was to already get Superman. So now not only killing people in California, he's killing people in New Jersey.
Hackensack?
Hackensack, where Miss Taskmacher's mother lives.
For
For no reason. The plan is horrendous to me.
yeah.
And
Terrible.
I guess as a 6-year-old, I thought it was cool. And this plan leads directly into what I believe is the worst part of the movie.
Yeah. the ending.
It even bothered me then.
Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, you're talking about a movie where a man comes from another planet, can fly, is super strong and invulnerable.
I get all that.
But
I'll let something go.
Shall I go with this
Go
one?
ahead. You can go with this one.
If Superman were to fly around the world fast enough to turn back the globe, it wouldn't turn back time. Because time doesn't work like that. Actually, what he would have done was kill just about everybody on Earth.
Right.
By stopping the planet's rotation. Would have basically displaced the atmosphere. Everyone would have flash frozen and suffocated. Probably.
But he has the ability not only to turn back time, but to come back
And then turn it back.
to an earlier time.
Right.
So it's like he turns to that. He spins the planet around.
Yeah.
The planet begins to spin the opposite direction. Then he goes the other way a little bit less, and it sets the time back
Right.
before. What though?
It was
But
then
before what?
hours before.
No, it was not. He didn't. It's not hours before. He does not stop the bombs from hitting.
That's true. He only saves Lois.
He only saves Lois. Thousands and thousands of other people probably died in that process, but he saves Lois, which he wouldn't have been able to do anyway because he doesn't stop the crack.
Remember, he had already broken the crack up.
No, he does not do that. That does not stop her. That's why I have problems with this ending. Because what happens prior to that doesn't make sense in him stopping it. He goes and he stops the fault, right?
Right.
So he stops it from happening. He stopped that
California
already.
from falling into the sea. Yes.
But her process still happens. Even if he spun the time back, he did nothing to stop her part from happening.
You're saying it would undo.
It would undo nothing.
Right.
He didn't do anything.
And I know I can hear you guys. I hear you on the other side of the screen saying, "Why are you nitpicking?"
And I love this movie.
Why are you nitpicking?
I love this movie.
A superhero movie.
This is
like
one of
this?
my all-time favorite movies.
Again, we're talking about seeing this as 50-year-olds.
Yes.
And we're not saying that the movie's unenjoyable.
I loved it.
It's still enjoyable.
We loved being there.
We're going to get to those good things in a minute. But this just seems like one of those moments where they could have taken the source material a little more seriously.
Because he could have just went and saved Lois, and that would have been fine.
Why didn't they just have, why didn't he just
He could
save her?
have flown to when she was just about ready to die. Because what happens is Lois almost falls into a crevice, gets
Rocks
crushed
fall.
by dirt.
Yeah.
He could have went and saved her right before that happened. Instead of doing this, to me, it was silly. It bothers me today still, the ending bothers me. And I love the movie. Absolutely.
It's a fantastic.
Love the movie.
But that just
Ending just bothered me.
really just.
Yeah, maybe
kinda,
I'm nitpicking, but I'm allowed to. It's my channel.
Yeah.
Now with that, let's look at 5 of the good things. And these are really good things that
Really good.
really stand out and really make this movie one of the best superhero movies ever made, still to this day.
Yep.
The first thing is Christopher Reeves.
Oh,
He's the perfect Superman.
Christopher Reeve,
And the perfect Clark Kent.
he played the character exactly the way you would want Superman to
Exactly.
be.
And Clark Kent.
He's good. He's friendly. He's a helper.
He's goofy.
He's a little silly. And just, he exudes this overwhelming beneficence, this goodness, this innocence that's what you want from Superman.
He looks like what you
Right.
want your Superman to look like.
Nothing gritty about him.
Nope.
Nothing dark.
Nope.
Nothing violent. He's just
An all-American Superman.
good. He's just good. And I'm going to misquote this. I have to find the quote. Maybe we could put it somewhere else. I remember him talking about preparing for the role. And he said the important thing that he thought about Superman was that Superman is a good neighbor. That's what he is.
Yeah.
He's a super-powered good neighbor. He's just helping people. That's it.
He's Edgar
Yeah.
with
right.
superpower.
Right.
My neighbor.
Yeah. But that's a great way to look at this character.
Yeah.
He's just a good neighbor.
And
that's all.
And he's played perfectly.
Absolutely.
And not only is he played perfectly, but the rest of the cast that filled out this movie is a fantastic cast of actors.
Again, you've got Gene Hackman, one of the great shining lights of 1970 cinema and beyond, who played this role so well.
So well.
He is funny. He's menacing. He is just great as Luthor.
He's as you would want
good.
Luthor to be.
Absolutely. And we've already talked about how great Miss Tessmacher is.
Tessmacher's great.
And Ned Beatty is fantastic as Otis. So good. You actually said one of the best examples of casting ever.
Yeah. He's perfect for the role of him. The goofy, kind of bumbling sidekick to Luthor.
I don't have his name in front of me, but the actor who played Jimmy Olsen was excellent.
Oh, he's excellent.
I don't have his name in front of me. I'm sorry.
He was also in Back to the Future.
That's right. He was the older brother in Back to Sure.
Jackie Cooper.
Jackie Cooper as Perry White.
Perry White is fantastic. It's just
Glenn Ford as Pa
Kent. It's
so good.
The cast is absolutely fantastic.
Brando.
Oh yeah.
Here, Brando.
That's how good the cast is. He was the last one we're talking about.
I know, right? Brando is one of the most temperamental actors ever. He was notoriously troubling on set for things that he didn't think he should take seriously. Right. And he played Jor-El like he was in a production of Shakespeare in the Park. It was great.
He's great.
Yeah.
And he's not in it a lot, and he's fantastic.
No, in fact, there was grumbling at the time of how much he got paid.
He got paid a lot for that little screen time. But worth it.
But it was worth it. Again, like I said, he played Jor-El like he was playing Julius Caesar.
It's actually the next thing on our list. The opening scene is fantastic. The opening scene takes place on Krypton. It's when the planet is just about ready to get destroyed. First, they are doing a trial, which is, I think, one of the best laid plans for a sequel.
Oh, it's
they laid a sequel within the first 5 minutes of the movie, and they do it perfectly.
It's they're convicting Zod, Ursa, and what's the big guy's name?
I always forget his name.
I can't remember his name. They're convicting Zod and his two hench people, and they put them in the negative zone thing and then shoot it out into space.
And as a kid, seeing that it blew me away.
Oh, it was excellent.
It was like they were on an album cover flying away. Like it was just so frightening as a kid, that scene. But that scene is fantastic, and then everything starts to get destroyed, and they send baby Kal-El away, and the rest is the rest of the movie. But I thought that scene was fantastically done, and that must have cost a lot of money to do.
Oh yeah, it was excellent.
It's an alien planet.
Yep.
Also on our list is John Williams' score.
Oh God, yes, John Williams' score is great, as always. I mean, if you think about the Superman movie, chances are you've got the music in your head right now. It is just so well done, and it captures the character so well.
You probably think about that music if you think about Superman movies, and he was. I mean, it's just done perfectly.
He was great.
It sets the tone for the whole movie throughout the movie.
Yes, absolutely.
And our final thing is The Fortress of Solitude. You mentioned this when we were watching the movie.
I said visually it was one of the best representations of the Fortress of Solitude I've ever seen, because it doesn't look just like a hollowed mountain in Antarctica or the Arctic or whatever it is. It's Arctic. North Pole.
Yep, North Pole.
Arctic. It looks alien. It has these weird crisscrossing crystal structures, and it looks like something that was built by an alien race, but here on Earth.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastically
very, very well done. Yeah, great.
Just the special effects in this movie for the time are
they're
fantastic.
Great. Other than the running thing.
I had one bad special, but the props and the background, same thing with
excellent.
Why the opening scene is so great is because of the way they built Krypton. The Fortress of Solitude is built perfectly. This movie is, again, one of my all-time favorite.
And it's a different Krypton than you see in the sort of Silver Age of Superman. It looks more like an ice wasteland, almost cavernous and things like that. It looks
more like the Arctic that he builds the original. Right. It looks like where the home planet looks like that, and honestly, it looks like it was kind of weird to me that looked like it was only one city.
Yeah, well, the whole planet might have just been one city.
Yeah, it was one city on the so it was just good. Listen, we love this movie, one of our favorites of all time. Just we're looking at it through the lens of someone a little bit older, and we wanted to critique it. We didn't want to fawn over it, which we easily could have.
Right.
But we were glad to be able to go and watch it again. KV Comics, we thank you. They're the ones that put this together. It was, thanks. We're so happy that
it was great fun
to sit and watch it. So, thanks for joining us. If you have any bad things or good things about Superman and you completely disagree with us, you think we're completely crazy, comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know. Is there any other movies you want us to look at through the eyes of 50-year-olds as we didn't look at them? We haven't done Star Wars yet.
Howard the Duck.
Stop with Howard the Duck. We did that already. As we didn't look through the eyes of a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, Star Wars maybe down the road. Let us know. Is there any other movies you want us to look at?
How about Puma Man?
You didn't see Puma Man when you were little.
No, but it's fantastic.
Thanks for watching. Love what you collect.
Collect what you love.
We'll see you next time.